Agriculture in Ontario has evolved tremendously. It's changed unlike anything you could ever imagine. The number of farmers is fewer, the size of the farmers is larger, farmers have to do more, have to accomplish more, the margins are thinner than ever. Statistics prove that 90% of the production in Ontario is accomplished by 10% of the growers. We grow corn and soybeans and wheat on our farm. Tends to be whatever generates the most revenue is what we tend to grow. When I was younger and when the farm was smaller, obviously I was more hands-on in regards to the machinery operation and the day-to-day practices on the farm. But now with more employees, it's a responsibility to make sure that they have what they need to do their job. You know, this time of year, we're busy, we're buying fertilizer and chemicals and inputs and seed, and we're merchandising grain. We're making sure that we have all the equipment in place that we need for the spring, and that the equipment is tuned up. You know, it might appear that, well, you know, the big game is here, you know, we're in the field putting the crop in, but the reality is there's a lot of background work before you actually go to the field with the equipment, and that's what we're doing now. It's not so obvious as when you're in the field with the big machinery, but there's a lot of background work that nobody sees, nobody knows about, that's for sure. Our objective is to walk every field on every farm every week. That's our objective. Things can change so fast, you know, we don't realize it, but when you're in the field and you get an infestation of aphids, for example, and that just blows in from the south through the growing season, most people don't even know they're around, but when you go into a soybean field and you go and check them and you see the aphids are, you know, the populations are just exploding in a soybean field, then if you're not there when you need to be there, it's too late, and you can never recapture what you've lost. So you have to be very proactive. The agronomists that look after our farming operation, they are soil sampling in the fall and making recommendations on you know, whether we need to add lime to given fields, or they actually help us with the application in the springtime. They're part of the team that are walking the fields, and then they're also there in the fall to see what the yields are like. So when we generate the maps, the yield maps, then, you know, they're keenly interested to see, you know, how given farms or given fields or given acres within a field perform. We have a program called Granular that we use, and it tracks the profitability of every field that we work in, whether it's a 5-acre field or a 300-acre field. Granular is tracking the profitability. We'll start harvesting some corn silage, for example, for the feedlot in September. The very end of September, we might start some soybeans. We'll be combining soybeans and doing high moisture corn for the feedlot at the same time, so there's 2 crews kind of working. And then we'll switch over to the grain corn for the elevator. Most years it's the middle of November before, so it's part of September, all of October, and a good portion of November before we get all the harvesting done. It's not me that's walking every field every week, but yes, I'm checking the fields together with a team around me who is also checking the fields. Really, that's what my job is. I'm a manager. I'm manager of people, I'm manager of the crops, I'm manager of the prices, I'm manager of so many things. If I'm lackluster in my interest, and I could care less whether we get 3 ton to the acre or 5 ton to the acre, then that's going to filter right down through every one of my employees. They're going to feel the same way. But if I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I can let that spill over into my employees' view of how we do things around here, then the job gets done right. It might be that I look at it and I say, oh, that infestation isn't severe enough to warrant an application. But somebody else might look at it and say, you know what, we really need to spray at least the headlands on those fields. I really appreciate that, to get the input from other members of the team, and it helps me make the very best decision.